Does trying to find pleasure makes you anxious? Well, today I'm gonna interview a very special guest about slowing things down and delighting. But how to do that when we live in such a hectic world? I am Candia Raquel, the host of the Sensual Sessions podcast. This is the place to sense through your senses in a way that is free from inhibition and full of self expression. And if you're ready to learn more, please visit my website with my name, www.candiaraquel.com, and get yourself signed up to get these episodes delivered on your inbox weekly, and also grab the free guide to awaken sensuality. So let's get started. Welcome, Michael. I am very happy to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me. It's our second time around. Glad to
Yes,
be here.
yes. You were, I think, in episode 40, and we are already over the 100. So you were a founding guest, and it's really an honor to have you here. So for the people that haven't get to know you yet, Mickey, he's a pianist. He's also a Feldenkrais method practitioner, and he's a creator of persistent growth, a unique approach to movement that is very efficient and also, I would say, delightful. So tell us, Mickey, how did you got to this thing of persistent growth with this idea?
Okay, so yeah, I've been going through many stages in my life, professional life. Also, my name. You call me Miki. This is people who know me for a long time still call me that. My
Oh,
original name is Michael, and in the English-speaking world where I move around recently, Michael is fine. So I already have three names at least. And also my professional life went through a similar process. I was a professional musician for 30 years, a pianist. I worked as an accompanist, which is a very specific specialization of piano playing, accompanying singers, instrumentalists. This was my job at the university, first in Vienna, where I studied, and then here in Chile, where I've been living for the last 20-some years. And I was also on the side, kind of parallel to this, also for 30 years now, a Feldenkrais practitioner, which means that I work with movement, with mindful movement. It helped me a lot in surviving and thriving as a pianist, like organizing myself in a way that works well and where I don't harm myself, which happens a lot. And then persistent growth came up with a pandemic when I already left university, quit my professional career as a musician, decided to dedicate myself to Feldenkrais, and very shortly afterwards, the pandemic came and I couldn't give classes anymore. Closed my studio, stopped seeing people one-on-one, and I had to reinvent myself again on the screen. So I was kind of forced into the online medium, and I started experimenting with my students. What can we do online that would make sense? And I found out that people were very stressed. They were confined to their homes for months, sometimes in different parts of the world. It was really difficult for most people, for most of my students, for myself too, to find an hour where we can relax, lie on the floor, take a full Feldenkrais class it is possible to give a Feldenkrais class online. It works very well because it works with verbal instructions. So you don't really have to see the screen. You can lie on the floor and do the class, but you need some peace of mind, some peace and quiet, like close the door and leave the world outside. And it was very difficult to so many people. And I thought, okay, online, people wouldn't come to my studio and drive here and then drive back home for a very short class. But online, this is ideal. Why don't I make it really as short as possible so that the concentration span can hold it in this very stressful situation, where people can just switch in for a short moment to explore themselves in movement, but do it every day. So this was the general idea, and I trying it with my students and with myself, just reduce it to the minimal viable period of time where something small happens. And I found out just by trying that 3 minutes is it. It works. So in 3 minutes, where you can really click the pause button on daily life, on the stress, it's possible to do it for 3 minutes for most people and do it regularly, like every day. And so this is persistent growth. It's kind of an application of the Feldenkrais method to an extreme situation, but also it worked very well in our normal life, if we can call it that. We came back to normal more or less, but it still works very well for people to create the habit of bringing the mind to themselves, pause, explore themselves in movement for a very short period of time, which means that you can manage to stay focused. You train your attention to stay. 3 minutes is possible for most people. And then with the clever ideas that we have in the Feldenkrais method of how to move in ways that are curious, that are pleasurable, that awaken something new, that propose some options, do it for a very short time, do it every day, and it's like taking a tiny step day after day, continuously. It makes up a journey of transformation, and things really happen over time. I found it very useful and very effective. And of course, the idea is not to replace Feldenkrais or replace exercise and just do 3 minutes a day and then sit on your butt the rest of the day. This is not the idea. The idea is to create kind of a basis of mindfulness in movement, which is what we do, and make it a habit. Do it regularly and try to really stick with it, even when you're stressed, even when you're in a hurry, even when you don't feel like it. And when it's only 3 minutes, it's quite possible.
It's quite possible, even if you don't feel like it. You know, it's it gives a lot of hope, because like we live in this hectic world of piles of tasks, plus the things that you deal that just show up, and we leave our self-care and even our experience of playfulness and pleasure and sensuality and even intimacy on the bottom of the list, and it becomes like an either or, meaning either I work my ass off or I enjoy life. So I'm gonna finish the project so I can go on vacations. So we are very action oriented towards our duties of achievement, but we procrastinate on the important matters of the self. When I become, like, I don't know, the CEO, then I'm gonna be happy. When I get the new car, or when I lose the weight after pregnancy, then I'm gonna feel sexy. Like, we push that aside, but at the same time, we are always like starving, like thirsty with a hunger for simply being able to enjoy life itself. And I feel this we have as a society this underlying layer of desperation that has a quality of hurry, of trying to do things fast, of haste, and we want bigger, better, stronger, fast, and furious, but only to then be able to rest and do nothing. So I see, and I'm going somewhere. Please bear with me. So when we finally get the chance where we are supposed to enjoy, say, we are finally on vacations, we don't know what to do with ourselves. Or when we are finally in bed and we put the cell phone on the bedside table, we don't know what to do with ourselves. And we are in this like trail of compulsion. So trying to access to sensual pleasure seems like a challenge and seems something like so foreign, because precisely we are missing of the peace of mind and the ability to become concentrated in the present, in our senses, and allow ourselves to close the door, like you said, and leave the world outside. So all of this to say and to ask you how, okay, a simple question. How do you give yourself permission? Like thinking like you as a piano teacher and as a pianist that has to train a lot, and a father of how many kids do you have? Two?
Yeah,
Yeah, and a father of two
good.
kids and a husband, and like how do you give yourself permission, say, for doing something for yourself, like laying it on the floor and